had the opportunity not to personally meet, but to listen to a few speakers this week as part of our, gear yourself up and go do your job better. One of them was John Foley, and he was the squadron leader of the Blue Angels. And he came and he spoke to us, and I thought, how in the world is this guy that flies a couple $1 million jet have anything to do with selling a cup of coffee? Where did we go with this one? But I got to listening to him, and he talked about teamwork, trust, and commitment. He said that he had reached his point in his career where he's the squad leader, and 6 pilots take these planes out and they fly them 36 inches apart. That's from my arm to my shoulder apart, these huge planes. And he said, and then the Navy said, well, we could do better than that. Let's fly them 18 inches apart. And he said sometimes they go by so close that their heads rock inside their little cockpit. And he was telling us how this one particular day, this team, the Blue Angels, is more than just 6 pilots. It's a team of 120. And every 3 years, the Navy rotates crew. So every year, a third of the crew is new. So you have to kind of start over with a third of these people that you put your life in their hands every day. And he said there are no mistakes, and there's no room for forgiveness. And those were his words. You're 36 to 18 inches apart, and your life is literally half a second away from that guy's next movement. And he was saying his squadron leader said to him, the team just got done putting this airplane together or repairing it or whatever they had done, and everybody had signed off saying that they had done their job. So take it, test it. So he said, I climbed in it, took it out, signed my name on it, took it, tested it, brought it back. And he said, I walked up to my squadron leader, signed my name, which says, I've given it the seal of approval, it's all good. And his squadron leader said, no, take it up and ring it out. And he was like, woohoo! He said, that's like getting the keys to a Ferrari and hitting the open road. He said, I took that thing up, and he says, there's always that, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 plus on the altitude. He says, I wanted to see what that plus was all about. So he said he took that airplane, and he dropped the stick or pulled the stick back. I'm trying to be quick and paraphrasing. And he said he climbed to 52,000. He's going straight up now, mind you. 52,000, 53, 54, 57,000 feet. He took this airplane straight up. And he was like, wow, this is the coolest thing in the world. He said, and then he looked out the window and he saw the actual curvature to the earth. And he was like, that was just totally awesome. He's like, you guys will never see it, but it was cool. And he said, then I decided I want to see, I did all the supersonic and all that cool stuff. I wanted to see how fast I could nosedive this thing, see if it would stall out, because a new recruit was going to take this plane the next day. I had to make sure, ring it out. So he said, I took the stick and I buried it straight down. He said, poof, straight down we went. And he said, then I thought, uh-oh, something's going wrong, because all of a sudden something was pushing back on my plane. And he said, with the amount of power this plane has, there should be nothing able to push this plane. And he said, then it hit me that when you're going that fast and you're coming back into the atmosphere from where he was, water molecules, were actually pushing back up on his plane. So he got that straightened out, and he was like, wow, this is still really cool. And then an alarm went off, and he said, I've only been out 8 minutes. A normal flight takes 45 minutes. And he had a fuel alarm go off. So he was like, uh-oh, I better land. So he lands the plane safely. And the the flight commander, the guy that does the signals and sends them out, comes up to him and says, sir, what did you do, sir? And he says, I realized he wasn't looking at me. And I turn around. He says, I had stripped all the paint off the plane. There was not any paint left on that plane. He said, so in about 10 minutes' time, I took a brand new plane, burnt up 8,000 gallons of fuel, shot it through the atmosphere, dropped it back down, stripped all the paint off it, landed it safely, got out and said, you know what? My team will fix it. And he had the confidence to know that when the rookie got that plane, it would be fine. The thought that I had with that was the confidence to know that no matter what situation you find yourself in, you're pushing the limit one way or another. And if you take everything down to the bare minimum, you come back and you have no paint left on you, and you have no fuel left in your tank, you can land safely and know that the team that you're committed to is going to fix it. And I just sat there, and the whole room was like as quiet as you guys are. There's 1,000 people like just quiet, and my whole thought was, God, you're so good. Amen. Just knowing that no matter where you find yourself, God can fix it. And we can have that kind of confidence. He had that confidence in 119 people to know that that's all right. 6-8 weeks from now, a couple $1 million, they'll have the paint back on, 8,000 gallons worth of fuel back in it, and we can take it back up. It'll be okay. But we can sit here tonight and know that, hey, you know what? I've reached some pretty high altitudes, and I've pushed some pretty hard limits, and I've come crashing down pretty fast, and I've been stripped down to nothing, it seems like. But I can stand here and tell you that, you know what? God can fix it. And it might not take him 6 to 8 weeks. It might take him less than 6 to 8 seconds. But I know that I have made a commitment with the greatest team captain that there is. And I can stand here and know that the team that I fly with, which is the church at Norwich, or any Holy Ghost-filled child of God that has the same commitment that I have, we're in this together. We're not walking this strip alone. We're going to pick each other up when we've fallen down. We're going to call each other up on the phone and say, hey, you know what? I've had a pretty bad day. And we can change each other's thought process. And we can know and we can rest assured with that confidence and turn around and go, oops, bad paint job. But you know what? We can fix it.